The Gilmore Girls is one of my all-time favorite comfort shows during the fall season, and if you haven't watched it, first of all, you're missing out, but it's basically the story of Lorelai and Rory Gilmore, a quirky mother-daughter duo living in a small cozy town of Stars Hollow. There's fast-talking, coffee-drinking, and plenty of book-loving moments, and honestly, it's the ultimate feel-good show with a mix of heart, humor, and just the right amount of drama. It's filled with great characters, witty banter, and tons of literary references because Rory is a total bookworm. Now, whether you're here for the small-town charm, the complicated family dynamics, or the endless pop culture references, there's something in Gilmore Girls for everybody. So today I'm going to recommend a few books that give off major Gilmore Girl vibes, so let's get into it. Now the first book I would recommend is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. Now this book feels like it was made for Gilmore Girl fans. It is so perfect, so funny. I rated this book a 5-star when I read it, and it basically follows Amelia Rose, aka Ray Rose to her fans. She's known as the Princess of Pop, but now she's at this point in her life where she's just so burnt out, and inspired by one of her favorite Audrey Hepburn books, she goes to Rome, but Rome, Kentucky. And when she gets there, her car breaks down in the lawn of Noah Walker, and Noah Walker is a small town pie owner. He doesn't want anything to do with Amelia, but being the good guy he is, he lets her stay in his guest house until her car is fixed. And during this time, Noah sees a different side of Amelia that he doesn't expect. He kind of expects her to be a really high maintenance, annoying celebrity, but she's the complete opposite of that. She is witty and charming and funny and quirky, and he slowly starts to break down his walls and gets to know her a little bit better. But all good things do come to an end, so when her car was officially fixed, they had to think about if there was enough there to have a relationship, if it was worth fighting for, and things like that. And I am telling you, this book is so freaking good. I was kicking my feet, giggling, gasping, like it was so good. And the thing is, there's absolutely no spice. Like no spice could be found. It's so freaking good without any of that. It's just so much mounted up tension, and it really reminds me of Lorelai and Luke, because in Gilmore Girls, Lorelai goes to Luke's shop all the time for breakfast and coffee. And when I tell you Lorelai and Luke are the definition of slow burn, they are literally the definition of slow burn. The entire show, it feels like we were waiting for them to admit their feelings for each other. And it feels very similar in When in Rome, because Amelia and Noah are the exact same way. There's immediately a spark, but they don't really want to interact with each other because they kind of know this is temporary. But in Gilmore Girls, it's like she lives in the town, they know each other, they're such a huge part of their lives, they're scared to take that jump, but it's all just really cute. And I think the thing that I loved the most is the fact that they're both small towns, because When in Rome is in Rome, Kentucky, a very small town. And if anything happens to anyone, everyone immediately knows already. So everyone knows by the end of the night that Amelia is staying in Noah's house. And their neighbors are so annoying, but the best kind of annoying. Like always in your business, but they love you and they want the best for you, talking about you, the gossip and everything like that, the grandmas in the town. It was just so adorable. And that's definitely Stars Hollow vibes, because literally when anything happens in Gilmore Girls, everyone in the town knows already. And I don't know, there's just something about that is just so adorable in a very frustrating way. I don't know if I would want to live in a town like that, but it just sounds so adorable when you're reading it or watching it on TV. And there's just something about like community in that way, where people genuinely care about you, maybe a little too much, but they care about you enough to check in on you and see how you're doing and see how things are going. So if you love the small town charm of Gilmore Girls, you're definitely gonna love When in Rome. The next one up is a book that I recently just finished, and my goodness, was it so good. I think I rated it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and that is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. And oh my gosh, literally the second I finished reading this book, I was like, oh, this book is totally Rory Gilmore vibes. And that is because The Lost Bookshop follows 3 seemingly strangers. It follows Opaline, Martha, and Henry, and they're kind of always been like secondary in their own lives, but that is until they discover a vanishing bookshop that kind of connects all 3 of them and shows them that life is grander than they think that it is. It has everything that you could possibly want. There's magical realism, there's a little bit of mystery, and even some romance as well. And it's just so beautifully written. I kept saying to myself, I've never read such a romantic book that didn't have so much romance. Like it was just written so beautifully, and so many life lessons could be found between the pages, and I had such a wonderful time reading it. Now, this is a book that I read on my Kindle. However, usually I just read my Kindle when I'm out and about, so when I'm at the gym or when I'm at a cafe and things like that. But this book was so good, I literally could not put it down. I wanted to read it all the time, and that's how you know a book is worth reading. And not only that, there were so many literary references that I was like, this book would be literal crack for Rory Gilmore. And that is because because Rory was such a huge reader in the show. She literally never went anywhere without a book. In fact, there's one section in the show where she goes to a dance with Dean, her then boyfriend, and while she's there, he holds her purse for her, and he's like, "Why is your purse so heavy?" And then he pulls out a book, and she was like, "Yeah, I literally never go anywhere without a book." And it's just, it gives that vibe. Like, that exact scene is what the book gives. And it's so interesting because it has so many cool like references that maybe you wouldn't have known if you didn't read this book. And it just was so beautiful. It was so well done. It was so witty. It was so clever. And it was just so heartwarming. And I feel like it gave me the same warm, cozy feeling that I always have after watching an episode of the Gilmore Girls. So I had to recommend it in this section because it's just so good. It gives off the Rory vibes that you're looking for if you're also a bookworm. And last but certainly not least is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. Now, I know I have recommended this a few times recently, but it was just so wonderful. I could not pass up the opportunity to talk about it again here. And that is because Vera kind of reminds me of Miss Patty from Gilmore Girls. If you remember, Miss Patty owns a ballerina shop in Gilmore Girls, and she's kind of the town's gossip. She knows everyone's business. She's constantly in everyone's business, and she's so funny and charming, and you can't help but love her. And Vera Wong is kind of the same way. She's a 60-year-old Chinese woman who owns a tea shop. She calls herself a detective, matchmaker, and a tea expert. And her life is pretty much revolved around those things until one day she goes down to her tea shop to find a dead man there. And instead of letting the police do it, she decides that no one can do a better job than her. So she takes on the job of trying to figure out how he got there, if this was a murder, and then who did it. She is so headstrong, she's hilarious, and so absolutely loving. And in this time, while she's trying to figure out this murder, she kind of connects 5 seemingly strangers, and then they create this newfound family, and it's just so beautiful. The humor is absolutely hilarious. There's so many good life lessons, and it's a really good cozy mystery. Now, the reason why I recommended it in this video is because Vera Wong is definitely like the life of the town, of life of this small community. She is so loving. She has so much love to give and so much wisdom to give. And I feel like it's not just Miss Patty that this relates to. It could also be everyone in the town. I just think that the way that they show up for each other in Stars Hollow is very reminiscent of how Vera Wong shows up for these strangers and how she creates this family and this community. And it's just so beautiful. Plus, it's nice because you get a little bit of extra drama from the mystery, trying to figure out that subplot while she's also like connecting and bonding with these strangers. So all around, it's a really good time, and I highly recommend it. Now, I usually watch Gilmore Girls every fall because it's just so cozy and it's perfect for the season. But this year, I'm actually not watching it. I'm watching Vampire Diaries. I'm watching it for the first time actually, and I'm really enjoying it. But I'm always looking for new shows that kind of fit the season. So if you have any other shows that you would recommend for the fall season, please let me know in the comments below because I will definitely add them to my list. But that's all I have for you today. I love y'all so much. I hope you found this very informative and helpful. And if you have any book recommendations that are similar to Gilmore Girls, please let me know what they are in the comments below as well, because I'm always looking for something cozy and fun to read during the fall. All right, you guys, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.